this is Kali. Thank you so much for being here on my channel. Today is a bit of a weird video. I have, in the last week or so, I've started to sit down on an evening and just do some sort of inky things, like some flower patterns. Very much inspired by Simone and Maike Oatley here on YouTube. I will link their channels. They shared like brilliant tutorials and how they play with things. And yeah, I started doing a bit of that and found that it's sort of it's like a mindful practice to me. And I very much enjoy that and realized that I could just let my brain settle, especially with everything that's coming towards us today. I'm in the UK, but obviously I'm watching what's happening in the world, especially in America. And yeah, so I found that just doing a tiny bit of inky play in the evenings just helps me wind down, like doing the same shape over and over again. I think it's like a doodle, or a Zentangle, if you will. And today I also have something that I would like to talk about while I'm doing this. So I thought, yeah, why not? It's been on my mind for a few days. And I think I really want to talk about it because it has to do with sort of planning and organization and about the whole, like the more structured side, because I'm aware that I'm a bit of an outlier. I don't come to the fountain pen and ink hobby from the planner side. I come from the writing side of it. So yeah, it's a bit different. And to see what we're going to do today, I'm using Vert Leaf from the Jacques Urbain, like the standard range. And I just want to see whether we can do something nice with this. I also have like a little water brush. I'm using it without water, but I quite like the control I have for this, like a little ceramic pot or dish and my pipette. And I'm just going to see just put some ink and water down. See what this does. This one is a very light ink anyway, so yeah, let's see. And I just want to do some simple shapes, and I might like stop and start the video and continue at some other point, because that's really light. Don't even know if you can see that. I might, just because, yeah, there's always some drying time in between. And I think I'm going to do one of those and then, or two, and then put a bit more ink in the mixture. I think that's a bit too light. I don't think that works. It all depends on how it shows up on camera, really. So yeah, flowers, like simple flowers. I really like to do, just because they're just calming. I'm also a bit of a gardening nerd, so that works quite well. Actually, I really like that. Okay, I will stick with the light one for now. And yeah, I hope you can see it. Yes, what I wanted to talk about is a few days ago, I started to watch a video about notebooks where someone said there are, I don't want to put the creator on blast, that's not what this is. It's about the wording and how I reacted to the wording. And they said, like, a notebook you can use it for this, this, and this. And the last point that they made was they used the word self-mastery. And I had a violent gut reaction to that word. And since then, I have been thinking about it. Why did I react like that? I don't even know what the rest of the video is about, because I basically turned off the video and thought, oh, something's going on. What is going on? That's interesting. And I realized that I come to the whole ink and organizing side with the knowledge that I have an anxiety disorder. And even though I realize that journals and planners are helpful for organizing your life, and my 9 to 5 is in academic publishing and is extremely schedule focused, which is why I usually don't subject my private life to such heavy scheduling, or at least I try to. But yeah, something about that word, self-mastery, really rubbed me the wrong way. And as I mentioned, I haven't even watched the video to the end. I don't know whether the creator explained themselves, and I could maybe could even agree with what they were saying. For me, the word self-mastery, I think, threw me back into days when I would have done anything to feel more in control. Not feeling in control is the worst thing imaginable, and even worse than the fear of the thing is worse than the thing itself. That definitely is the case in my particular circumstances. And I was absolutely engaging in safety behaviors, trying to basically prevent the worst from happening by doing things that are wildly over the top. And I think it's very similar how I feel about the notion of habit tracking. Because for me, habit tracking I know it's about the good habits that you want to enforce or you want to encourage, but for me, it's more, it always carries the connotation of a bad habit that you want to avoid, that you want to not do anymore. And so you track what you're doing to, I don't know, make yourself feel good because you can take something off a list. Believe me, that's something I very much understand, because my work life is all about to-do lists. But to use a journal, a notebook for self-mastery implies to me that yourself is something to get a hold of, like something that needs to be changed, that needs to be subjected, like almost broken into submission, because it doesn't fit in with the productivity standards of the world we live in. But I often think that these attempts at mastery actually suppress very human urges, needs, or just sort of the, let's see, not quirkiness, but like the individuality of someone. I don't want to use journals to master myself. I don't want to plan to master myself or to master my life. I don't think a life is something to be mastered. Again, I'm talking like from what my feelings about the whole thing. You might have a totally different outlook on it. You might have, just a totally different opinion. This is what I'm afraid of when someone uses the term self-mastery. It's ultimately a suppression of the self. I want to use my journals in a way that is self-compassionate. I want to use them to discuss the fact that I don't have control over everything. I don't know whether you know what I mean. I've been mulling over this for days now, and of course it needs to come out sometime. But this is sort of something that I'm thinking of while I'm just playing with ink. And I think the shapes need to be simple for me to have the opportunity to think while I'm doing it. Yeah. I think this is the reason why it almost felt as if I'm punched by that word. Because it represents everything that I want to go, like that I don't want to do, that I want to get away from, because I know very well that I have the tendency to do exactly that, to try and fit myself into the world by any means necessary. And to-do lists and, oh, you need to do this, like checklists are a very good tool to do that. For anyone who has ever struggled or been sort of in the area of having an ED, this concept might ring a bell as well, because fitting yourself into a rhythm that's not yours, subjecting your mind, your body to something that is not what you really are. I've been doing this for so long. I'm just now getting out of it. And my journals and the books that I write, that's what they're doing for me. And to hear someone talking about notebooks as a tool of self-mastery, I'm tearing up as I speak because it was a shock for me. A notebook for me, paper, like an empty notebook represents so much potential. And to subject it to a goal like self-mastery is so incredibly sad. Again, this is how I feel about it. I obviously feel really strongly about it because I'm crying now. And that was not planned. But I would be so glad to know how you think about it. Why do you journal? Why do you plan? Is it to try and feel in control of a world that is uncontrollable? Is it something truly joyful? Or is it something you need to feel halfway here? I wanted this year to be a year of more analog arts, of more touching materials again, because I think I've really lost touch with the world in some ways. And I didn't want this to be so vulnerable. I mean, I thought I'd speak about the thoughts that came up in the moment and the days afterwards, but oh my God. I think it's also because the political landscape we find ourselves in is so anti-human in a way. It's so pro-machine that the notion of expending so much energy, using so many resources to keep yourself contained, to make yourself small. I mean, this is what an ED is. It's making yourself small in whatever way. It's just, as I said, I could not finish the video. I was so taken aback by my reaction to the word. And words mean things. And this is sort of what I'm experiencing more and more. That, yeah, we need to be a bit careful with what we put out in the world. And I'm sure that's not what this creator had in mind at all. As I said, it's not a call out of any means at all. It's just about my reaction to a specific word that has such a, such a rat's tail of thoughts, emotions, and just almost despair. because it was obviously, I know that people come to this hobby from a lot of different angles, but maybe that's just about what I learned in my many years on this planet. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, this really ran away with me. So what I'm starting to do now is I'm doing a bit of layering. Usually I would wait a bit more, but I found that the Urban inks are generally really quite dry, and they dry fast, even if they are well diluted. Yeah, I don't know if they're chrysanthemums or what they are going to be. Maybe it's also because I use sort of these evenings where I sit down without any music, just with a cup of tea, the ink and the water and the paper, and just try to find my way through the horribleness. Yeah, because that's about doing exactly not that. And then someone using the techniques that I'm using for something so joyous, for something that I've done to myself for a long, long time. And I'm trying not to do any more. That might just be it. Yeah, I tend to turn the pages a lot, just because I don't smudge it. I think I might go into the center and just do a bit of layering afterwards. Otherwise it looks a bit empty. Yeah. So as you can see, here, these sort of deliberations are not always extremely joyful, but I think they're necessary. And I mean, the books that I write, I think they make my stance extremely clear. That's sort of the way that I found that I can put my hat in the ring, so to speak. Sort of offering connection and self-knowledge without self-torture. I mean, it might start out that way, but then it goes in a more benevolent direction. I wonder, I don't think I'm alone with this. I don't know if you feel that I have a point, or that I'm just wildly out of line. As I said, it's all about me noticing something going on in my brain. And then wanting to find out more why was I doing what I was doing? Like, why was I reacting in this strange way? I always have trouble with the stems. They always, yeah, smudge it anyway. They always don't look quite right. I mean, it doesn't matter really. This is just play. This is just trying things out. I used to draw a lot. My parents recently went through, I mean, they're still going through it, sort of the amount of drawings that I amassed during the courses you do. And I don't have space. They don't have space. They need to get rid of things. But yeah, it just showed me how much there was really. And how long I hadn't done anything like this. Just go up there. Just make it a bit more fun. Yeah, just go like this. As I said, the stems are never really great. And I think I missed it. I mean, I have some art supplies here. I bought a tablet for drawing at some point, and I did a lot of it. So I did, because I basically did the maps for all my books, at least the first iterations of them by myself. So I did very much what I'm doing here. I drew lots and lots of little houses. Yeah. Okay, I think I need to let this dry now. And then I come back and it won't be quite as gloomy, I promise. Okay, I'm back. I think what I'm going to do is to go in with a glass pen and do like a few lines, a bit of structure. I said this is not... At the end of the day, it's really just about the practice. It's not about looking pretty. If it looks pretty, that's sort of it's a nice side effect. So yeah, what I just love about this technique is just the mindfulness aspect, the way it feels like a Zentangle, almost like a mindfulness doodle. I think, yeah, they're doodles. I think also because when I write, I usually write very fast, which is sort of evidenced by how illegible my handwriting can be. And I noticed that calligraphy practice really stresses me out. I think it's because you need to slow down for that, and I'm not good at that. I'm slowing down, and then I'm really getting jittery, and the lines get shaky. I'm sure that's all sort of practice as well, but for now, what works better for me is just shapes. And I've done it with like a fountain pen inked up in the same ink, but I quite like there's a certain quality the glass pen gives. I think it's sort of because it's etching into the page, there's more of a weight to the line or something. So yeah, I mean, that's sort of the right way up. Just do this little one. Just wanted to do at least a few. Some of them are not quite dry. I don't know if I can do them. But yeah, that what works for me for the moment. Because as I said, the calligraphy practice really did something to me. Maybe it was about me feeling, oh, it's sort of a waste of paper. At least here you have some sort of thing afterwards. And I like how sort of the pages feel. They're slightly distorted with the water and the ink. It's actually a nice feeling. Yeah. I think it's also because it's not writing, it's helpful because I write so much. It's a different way of using the pen, of holding the pen. Yesterday, Sunday, I went. Usually I go swimming on a Sunday, but for some reason, yeah, there was something where it worked better on a Saturday. So I actually had the whole Sunday. And what I usually end up doing is going to the coffee shop and writing at least a couple of hours. I think yesterday I wrote 4 hours in total. That's sort of the whole hyper-focus thing. I will need some time to get into it, but once I'm going, I'm, I'm under basically, and it takes me a while to resurface. And I think I wrote 1.5 chapters. And by the end of it, I mean, I switched what I've started to do because I'm now using a lot more different pens that I have, like I write a spread or chapter, whatever, with one pen, then switch to the next one, which actually helps me increase the amount of time that I write, because then the hand has to sort of mold itself to a different pen again. But the last half chapter yesterday I wrote with my Lamy Aeon. I'm not sure how you're supposed to pronounce it. And it's a very girthy pen. And I really noticed that my hand is not quite used to that yet. The Asvines are pretty thick too, but for some reason maybe because it's a resin, it's not metal, it tends to be not quite as painful. It's not painful, it's not I think, yes, sort of uncomfortable is the right way to describe it. And yeah, I think after such a big writing session, yeah, that's basically how I spend my weekend if I haven't have nothing else going on. It's mainly writing in the mornings. Definitely, if I can choose, I'm a morning person. If I'm going to the office, I will use my lunch break to do a writing sprint. That works quite well too. But that's sort of an hour. It's a very contained thing. 4 hours is a bit of a different ballpark, I'd say. So yeah, I need to see. I think I'm going to look for a few smaller pens, because I think almost all of the pens that I ordered recently have been bigger pens, because that's what I've been seeing online. I mean, any like the Sailor Pro Gears and Pro Gear Slims, they're totally out of my budget. That's not going to happen. So I might go for the Tube just to see, like, size wise, if that would work. And maybe one day, if I can afford it, I could look into a Sailor, or maybe secondhand or something. Yeah, it's not quite dry, but I quite like the effect too. I think they're probably chrysanthemums, sort of green. Oh, they also look a bit like echinaceas, but in green. I don't know if they're green echinaceas. Maybe. I mean, these definitely do look like them. Oh yeah, it's still quite wet. But yeah, going for it. And I think what I love about the glass pen is that you get a very broad stroke. I'm going to lift the page up in a moment to show you. I love watching these kind of videos because I find them extremely relaxing. I mean, which is why I started to do sort of my own, call it practice. I always find it slightly pretentious, but that's what it is, I suppose. Okay, let me just some ink rack. I'll close the ink. That's always the most important part. Okay, so when I lift this, you can see that the lines are actually, they look different, as if it's a fountain pen with a glass pen. I really love the way they look, and especially if it's sort of slightly wet when I use it. It's just a lovely effect. So there we have it. That's this evening's ink contemplation, let's say. I think that's probably what I call the video. If you're still here, I'm amazed, but I'm so thankful. There might be videos like this in the future. I don't know. This might be a one-off. I just really wanted to talk to someone about my feelings. And if you resonate with them, if you think I'm totally out of pocket, that's not what they meant. Self-mastery is something very important. Try to convince me in the comments. I can only tell you my point of view, and with my history and all the baggage that I bring to the party, basically, or to the function. But yeah, this has been I feel relieved now, and I think that's what it was for. Sort of just to get something off my chest. If you like this sort of more informal thing, I would be thrilled if you'd subscribe and be along. Give this video a thumbs up as well. Can't hurt. And then I'll see you soon. Thank you so much.